The desert sun hung low, painting the sky in gold and rust as dust swirled through the small frontier town of Red Rock. Horses stomped restlessly, men shouted prices, and the smell of sweat and whiskey filled the air. The annual trade fair had drawn ranchers, miners, and drifters from miles around. But among the usual goods, horses, cattle, and tools, one thing drew the biggest crowd that day: a slave auction. A tall cowboy named Luke Maddox leaned against a post, hat low over his eyes. He wasn't the kind of man who enjoyed crowds or cruelty. He had ridden into town to sell cattle and head home. But the sound of a man shouting, "Buy one, get one free," caught his ear. Curious, Luke turned toward the wooden stage. Two young Apache women stood trembling under the harsh sun. Their wrists were bound, their clothes torn, faces streaked with dirt. The older sister tried to shield the younger one, her defiant eyes scanning the crowd, filled with sneers and mocking laughter. "Two for the price of one," barked the dealer. Strong, healthy, and obedient, the crowd chuckled, throwing bids like insults. Luke's stomach turned. He had seen cruelty before, but something about these sisters, especially the way the older one glared back at her captors, struck him deep. Her eyes weren't begging. They were burning. The bidding slowed. No one wanted trouble from Apache women. The dealer's face reddened with frustration. $50. Both for 50. Luke stepped forward. "I'll take 'em." The dealer grinned wide. "Smart man. 2 for 1 deal?" Luke handed over the money without another word. As the dealer cut their ropes and pushed the sisters toward him, the younger one stumbled. Luke caught her before she fell, setting her gently upright. "Easy there, miss," he said quietly. The older sister glared at him. "Why you buy us?" she asked in broken English, suspicion sharp in her tone. Luke met her gaze steadily. "Didn't buy you. Bought your freedom." The crowd murmured behind them, some laughing, others confused. But Luke didn't care. He tipped his hat to the dealer and led the sisters away from the market, down the dusty road where the noise faded behind them. The older sister finally spoke again, her voice softer now. "You no take us?" Luke shook his head. "No one's taking you anywhere. You're free." The younger one's eyes filled with tears she tried to hide. The older, still cautious, studied him, as if trying to find the trick. "Why?" she whispered. Luke looked out toward the horizon. "'Cause someone ought to do the right thing. Guess today, that's me." The wind blew through the canyon, carrying away the sound of the auctioneer's voice. For the first time in days, the sisters felt the taste of freedom. But deep down, Luke knew this was just the beginning of something much bigger than a deal at a dusty market. The sun was dipping behind the mesas when Luke Maddox finally stopped his horse near a quiet stream. The two Apache sisters followed on foot, still wary, still unsure whether to trust the man who had bought them. The younger one, Naya, couldn't hide her hunger. She stared at the small fire Luke built, eyes fixed on the beans cooking in his tin pot. "Eat," Luke said gently, setting 2 tin plates before them. Naya hesitated, but the older sister, Tala, nodded and accepted it. "We eat." "Then go," she said firmly. Luke looked up at her, his expression calm. "You can go wherever you please. No one's going to stop you. But it's a long way to the mountains, and soldiers still patrol these roads. You'd be safer at my ranch for now." Tala didn't answer. She sat by the fire, silent but thoughtful, her hand never leaving Naya's. The stars began to spread across the velvet sky, and for the first time in weeks, the sisters slept without chains. By morning, the small camp glowed in dawn light. Luke had already saddled his horse. "If you still want to leave, I won't stop you," he said. Tala looked at him. "Why you help us?" "You white man," Luke smiled faintly. "My mother was Apache. My father hid it to keep her safe. Guess I got her heart." Tala's eyes widened slightly, her anger softening. She saw truth in his face, the quiet pain of a man who belonged nowhere. "Then you half like us," she said. "Maybe," Luke replied. "Maybe that's why I couldn't let you be sold." Naya clung to her sister's arm. "We go with him, Tala," she whispered. "Please." Tala hesitated, then nodded slowly. "For now." Luke brought them to his ranch, a lonely spread of land beneath red cliffs, with wild horses roaming free. Days turned into weeks. The sisters helped cook, tend to the animals, and slowly laughter began to return to the ranch. Tala found peace in the open air, in the rhythm of the wind, and the kindness she saw in Luke's eyes. He never asked for anything in return, never crossed the line between protector and friend. But something unspoken grew between them, something stronger than words. One evening, as a storm rolled in, Luke stood by the porch, watching the rain fall. Tala stepped beside him, her dark hair damp with mist. "You could have walked away that day," she said softly. He looked at her, eyes full of quiet emotion. "I couldn't, didn't want to," Tala smiled faintly. "You gave us freedom. But maybe you find yours too." He took her hand, not in passion, but in promise. The thunder rolled across the plains, and for the first time, the past didn't feel so heavy.